Gregor, I know you want to look forward rather than back, but just one on the France game. I know you've been in touch with World Rugby about the game as you normally would be, but anything over and above what you would normally expect back in terms of feedback and what happened at the end of that game?
No, just a really normal process. I think there was a bigger issue around the law in the game that allows people not to chase their own kicks. So there was a discussion around that, and interestingly, Super Rugby are changing that law for when they start next week. So I think that's a positive thing for the game, that you should be able to, or you shouldn't be allowed to just stand and not chase a kick and put someone onside. So
as far as the try, no try incident, that's kind of done and dusted from a World Rugby side of things?
Well, there's nothing that can be done, is there? The game won't be replayed, and it shouldn't be replayed, and yeah, we're disappointed, clearly disappointed. Nothing's changed our view on seeing the footage then and seeing and rewatching it a few times after. We believe it should have been a try, and we believe that's the way the decision was going to go during the conversation between the TMO and the referee, but it didn't happen, and you've got to move on.
How hard or otherwise has it been to move on? Did the break come maybe at a good time to reset and get ready for this one?
Yeah, I think with anything you move on. I think if there hadn't been a break, you'd be on to the next game and you'd be coaching and you'd be training. So I think you've got to look ahead. There was actually a funny moment in training during the week where Sam Skinner scored a try, and everybody just started giving him a round of applause. And as a coach, I thought, I'd say get your minds back on the rugby, or just go, okay, well, we've moved on. So Sam was happy, got the ball down. And sorry, we did get the ball down against France, but this time it was awarded.
What was it about this game that seems to have brought out the best in Scotland over the last few years? Traditionally, it's been a really difficult game, but under your tenure, it's brought a lot of success for your teams.
Yeah, it has. I think the players have really delivered. We've delivered up front too. I think whenever you play an English team, you're going to be tested in the set piece, the contact area, and the basis of our victories and the basis of our really good performances have been through the forwards. It's allowed our backs to come into the game as well. I think the preparation's been really good. Playing England in the first game of the championship a few times has meant that we've had more of a focus on ourselves. And even though this is the third game, we certainly had tried to look at how we can improve and what we are going to do and set out, rather than worry too much about the opposition. And I know that engages the players more and gives them confidence.
In years gone past, England teams would come up to Murrayfield and look to physically impose themselves. You talked about that strong set piece that they traditionally have, but do you feel this team is equipped to deal with all that if that's the way England want to go about it?
Yeah, we really believe in our forwards, both those that are starting and the guys coming off the bench. I think at the weekend when we played France, maybe should have used players off the bench, but I was really pleased with how the likes of Xander were playing, going up against one of the biggest packs in world rugby. And that's what we'll always have against England. They will be a big pack, and they have a tradition through their age group rugby, through the English Premiership, of mauling, of scrums being so important, of the contact area being important. But we've shown against most packs that we come up against, excuse me, that we're more than a match, and we can compete with the biggest guys in world rugby.
Gregor, given your praise, post-match praise after France for Andy Christie, why Jamie Ritchie and not Andy Christie?
Yeah, well, to start, Andy Christie thought he did really well off the bench, and that's an important role for us, especially in a big fixture like this. So we believe him come off the bench, he can make a big impact, bring on energy, covers all three positions too. For Jamie, I think Jamie's really accepted the challenge that was there about a month ago, that there's increased competition in the back row. For that reason, you're no longer going to be captain. But he's played 2 games for Edinburgh since that conversation, and 1 for Scotland down in Cardiff, and he's played well. We believe this game will suit his strengths, and his experience he can bring to the team as well will be a boost.
You've got Blair Kinghorn back, which means you have a kind of a de facto 10 in your starting lineup. There could have been a case, or was there a case at all for putting Kyle Rowe on the bench and not Ben Healy, given you have a 2 10s in your starting lineup?
Yeah, I think it was more a discussion around 6-2 or 5-3.
Yeah.
But we just feel with Blair's first game back since an injury, albeit not a long period that he's had out injured, it's asking a lot for him to come back and play a test match and also run at 10 during the week. And it was a long discussion because we believe the contact area will be huge, and yeah, having another forward on the bench might have helped us, but we back the how many 10, 11, how many forwards there are in the squad to perform.
Just finally from me, Blitz, the England Blitz. You came up against a South African Blitz, didn't work out that well in South Africa. Have you focused on that a lot? Give us your thoughts of what you learned from the South Africa game, because obviously we have Felix Jones being in the narrative this week as well.
Yeah, I think when there's a unique style of attacking or defending by the opposition you're playing, you have to touch on it. You have to train that way. So the non-23 have performed like England at training, or as much as we think they're going to defend and attack. We learned a lot that day in South Africa, but it was a case of missed opportunities. It was a case for us getting that perception against reality that maybe the way they were defending, the aggression they brought, we didn't realise there was still space there. We had 2 big opportunities in the first half that we, on another day, we take, but the second half wasn't as obviously not as pleasing. South Africa scored 2 tries and we then forced things a little. So yeah, we've had that experience, but a lot of our teams go up against blitz defences. Exeter are one that deploy that defence, and a few of our guys that play in England, also Glasgow players, have came up against it. So they're aware of the solutions and aware of what we have to do right to make sure that we take the space that defence offers. And on the flip side, knowing that you're going to have to ride some aggressive tackles, you're going to be hit behind the gain line. The contact area is going to be huge if they do hit you behind the gain line.
Greg, obviously England have had a good start to the campaign. World Cup semi-finalist last year. You've won the last 3 meetings. You played. You consider yourself favourites going into this?
Like favourites is something for bookmakers and for media. Every coach will try and say they're underdogs to the media, but to their own players they'll try and sell how to win the game and prepare that what you're doing is going to lead to a victory. So that's all we're focusing on. What we've done this week, the team that we've selected to go out and win this game.
Do you feel that your players will have added confidence though from those previous victories, and is that something that they would thrive on, the belief that they can go out and win this game with confidence? They've done it before. Yes,
yeah, that's for sure. And I think the game in 2018 is certainly given the players confidence when they've taken on England in the last few games. But I suppose what's most relevant is the game you've just played, the things you have to work on to be a better team, and the threats that England bring. This England team is different than the one we faced 12 months ago. But ultimately, it's just delivering on the day and the 80 minutes that we're going to play.
The previous 2 games the team's played have been really good. First half, first 60, last 20 minutes in both games have perhaps not gone exactly as you wanted. Is that something that you've worked on the training ground these last 2 weeks? Is it an area of concern, or do you feel that you managed to hold on against Wales? And of course, we all know what happened in the France game. Could have gone a different way. Is it an area of strength? Is it an area of weakness? Something you've worked on?
Well, I've been really pleased with how we started both games. They're very different games. One, we were down to 14 men for 20 minutes and we were on the back foot. It wasn't the case against France. The game was almost a stalemate and we were leading by 6 points. What we were frustrated with as a group is we didn't take chances to go further than 6 points ahead. And then we didn't defend well enough in the one opportunity France got. But in both games, I've been really proud and pleased at the players' response in the final minutes of the game. We ended up over the try line in both games. So that shows the fitness and resilience of our group to come back in adversity.
Just finally from me, we all know how good the atmosphere can be here. What are you expecting on Saturday and how important can they be for you and your players?
as noisy as possible. That would be great. There was a few French supporters in at Murrayfield the last game, and before the game I thought this was going to be the equivalent of an away match, the amount of noise they were making, but fortunately the French supporters were quiet during the first half, and it was great to hear the Scots getting behind their team. I'm sure there'll be more Scots here this weekend, and it's always a special atmosphere. It's not always a positive atmosphere, but the last 3 occasions I believe it has been positive. There's been a real emotion and energy behind the Scottish team by the Scottish fans. Prior to that, it might have been more directed to the opposition, but we get energy from our supporters, and that connection really helps us.
On defeat, the margin for error in terms of competing for titles is gone. Does that factor at all? Does that add anything at all to the players this week?
No, I think when you're on the back of a defeat, you have to obviously win and bounce back with a victory. You're not thinking now of the championship, and we'll see where we're at after Saturday. But that the focus is on this game, and the focus is on this game because it's our most important game of the season. Most important game for our supporters. We do play for a trophy in amongst the championship and Triple Crown and other trophies, but this one is one that we're focused on more than the others. That probably shouldn't be the case, but it is. It's history, it's emotion, and we've seen the impact it has on Scottish supporters when we do manage to get a victory in this fixture. So that'll drive us on Saturday.
Can I ask about, you touched on it's not the same England side as 12 months ago, but what have you made of what you've seen of this England side over the Six Nations campaign so far?
Yeah, very competitive. They look really together. So they've had to win 2 close games. They had adversity in the Wales game when they were down to 13 men. They have a new way of defending, which brings energy too if it works. And they seem to be the similar strategy that they've used right throughout the last 12 months in terms of their attack, which is predominantly kicking and challenging the breakdown whenever the opposition get the ball. So it's a team that has grown over the last 12 months through victories as well. That would give them a lot of confidence and belief in what they're doing. But the big change is how they defend.
Thank you.
Just one more, sorry, Gregor. Scotland have conceded the highest number of points in the second half of any of the Six Nations. What does that tell you?
It tells you there's only been 2 games in the Six Nations. But yeah, I'd say stats after 2 games are not really full stats. But yeah, what did we concede against France? 7 points? Or 10 points? Yeah. I think 10 points against one of the top teams in the world is not something to be too worried about. The most important stat is winning, and that's what we were frustrated with in the France game, not to get the win.
In the last quarter, it's 24-0 against you.
24-0.
Combined over the 2 games, the opposition 24 points, Scotland 0 points in the last quarter.
Yeah, again, it's contextual. Both games, you could say, oh, what a great team Scotland are in the first half, but ultimately, the stats are stats. Like, the important thing is winning games, and we did that in the opening game. We didn't do that in the second game.
Great, thank you.
Thank
Can
you.
I ask
Good luck.
one about Andrew Brace, the referee, Greg, and what impact that has on your preparation? He's often a ref who's given the benefit of the doubt to defending sides to break down.
Yeah, well, I think Andrew's one of the best referees in the world. I remember when he first came through when I was coaching in Glasgow, and I think he's been excellent. I think he referees each moment for their worth. He loves or will weigh up a situation to see whether the attack or the defence have had the dominance, and he'll reward that. So yeah, I think we're obviously looking forward to a game that the referee doesn't play a big role in this week, but we think we've got one of the best referees in the world.